Hey everyone, and welcome! Today we're going to break down this really powerful framework for making change happen, and it all comes from the book Switch by Chip and Dan Heath.
I mean, let's be real. We all struggle with change, right? Whether it's at work, in our communities, or heck, even in our own lives. And we almost always blame ourselves, you know? We think, oh, I'm just lazy or I just don't have enough willpower. But what if the real reason is something completely different?
Okay, so to get into this, I want to tell you a really surprising story about something we all know and love, movie theater popcorn.
Now, here's the really clever part of this whole setup. Both of these buckets were so huge that nobody could actually finish them. So the popcorn was, for all intents and purposes, bottomless. The only thing that was different was the size of the container they were holding.
The results were just wild. The people who were given the large buckets ate 53% more popcorn. 53%. That's about 173 extra calories just because of the bucket.
And this, right here, is the first big surprise about change. What totally looks like a character flaw, gluttony, no self-control, is so often just how we respond to the situation we're in. It wasn't a people problem, it was a bucket problem.
To really get our heads around this, we need a good metaphor for the two kind of separate systems that are always running inside our brains.
So first up, you've got the rider. This is our rational, analytical mind. You can think of the rider as the planner, the part of you that sets goals and tries to think about the long term.
And then you have the 6-ton elephant. This is our emotional side, our instinctive side. It is incredibly powerful, it feels pleasure and pain, and boy, does it want instant gratification.
And here's where it gets really interesting. You see, the rider is holding the reins, and it seems like it's in charge, but it's the elephant that has all the energy, all the power. You could say the rider gives the direction, but it's the elephant that provides the actual drive. This quote just nails the central problem, doesn't it? When there's a disagreement, your rational rider wants to go to the gym, but your emotional elephant wants to stay on the couch and watch TV, the elephant's massive strength is gonna win. Every single time. The rider is just no match for it.
So, if you really want to make a change, you can't just talk to the logical rider. It's not enough. You need a 3-part strategy that gets the rider and the elephant to work together, to move in the same direction.
And the solution is actually pretty elegant. First, you've got to give your rational rider crystal clear directions. Second, you have to get that emotional elephant motivated. And third, you need to clear the way for both of them by shaping the path. Okay, that's the theory. Let's look at a few quick real-world stories to see just how this whole framework actually plays out. So to direct the rider, you've got to script the critical moves. Ambiguity is the enemy. It's totally exhausting for the rider. A vague goal like, be healthier, just leads to decision paralysis. But a super clear action like, next time you're at the store, buy 1% milk instead of whole milk, that's a simple, direct instruction it can follow.
All right, now for motivating the elephant. To do that, you have to make people feel something. Spreadsheets and data rarely move us. This number, 424, it comes from a manager who is desperately trying to get his bosses to cut company costs.
So what he did was, he had an intern look into just one single item the company bought, work gloves. And what this intern found was that the company was buying 424 different kinds of gloves from all these different vendors, all at wildly different prices.
Now, instead of showing them a boring spreadsheet, he made the problem real. He made it tangible. Seeing that absolutely ridiculous, wasteful pile of gloves created this immediate emotional jolt, a real whoa moment that a dry analysis could never, ever create. That's how you motivate the elephant.
And finally, let's look at shaping the path. This comes from a great study where researchers made it either really hard or really easy for students to donate to a food drive. And get this, they even knew which students were considered saints and which ones were jerks based on an earlier survey.
The results are just incredible. The students who were labeled jerks but who got clear instructions and a map were over 3 times more likely to donate than the saints who just got vague instructions. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that what looked like an issue with someone's character was really just an issue with the path. Making the path easy, removing those little obstacles, can have a way bigger impact than trying to change who someone is.
So this 3-part framework, this is your new toolkit. You can use this for any change you want to make, no matter how big or small.
Just remember these 3 things, right? To make change happen, you give clear, non-negotiable instructions to the rider, you connect to some kind of emotion to get the elephant moving, and finally, you make the right behaviors as easy as possible by shaping the path.
So the next time you're facing a challenge, don't just try to push harder. Stop and ask yourself, am I directing the rider, am I motivating the elephant, and am I shaping the path? Because when you get all three of those working together, even the hardest change starts to feel possible.